Let us do the talking, just relax and unwind. Laugh your ass off, baby, have a good time. Robin, Youssef, yeah, we something sublime. Run your mouth, bitch, yo, we out of our minds.
Welcome back to the Run Your Mouth podcast. We've got a fun crew here today. Special guest Eric Levy of health fame. I don't know. You tell me. What's your plug?
I'll go with that. Health fame.
Health fame. Health influencer. What's the name of your pod? The
Holistic A-hole.
We could have clarified this beforehand.
I like health fame though.
Yeah, I really could have just gotten a simple note page of.
Yeah, I like your style though. No prep, just get into it.
Just fucking get into it. Okay, from the Holistic A-hole podcast. I was on that. It's probably 2 months back, but we had a really good time. We talked about shits. We talked about going to the hospital. We talked about being healthy, so I absolutely recommend that. We've got Joseph Roberts here, and then as always, our production crew, Mike Harrington. Now, before we get started, a couple housekeeping things I got to address. A little while ago, we had a beef with another podcast. And they had an episode of ours pulled, which they're rotten people. They're really not good people, but we're not looking to defame them or start another thing, or, we're not trying to send our fans after them. We want nothing to do with them. We want to live our lives as far away from those rotten people as we can. However, not only did they have one of our episodes pulled down for supposed defamation, which it wasn't. Are you a defamer, Joseph Roberts?
I'm not going to answer that question.
No, you're a man of the people. You love people.
I am the man of the people.
Eric, could you see me being out there defaming someone? We've known each other for a while.
In certain moods of light, yes, maybe a little. No, you're a good guy.
No, I'm not out there defaming anybody. So, anyways, not only did they have one of our episodes pulled down, apparently they went on a little tear of leaving us really nasty reviews.
On iTunes?
On iTunes.
That's just like runners. Runners always do that kind of stuff. They're so snippy. It's a running podcast.
Well, listen, we don't want to defame them. We don't want to send our listeners after them. And by the way, if you were looking for them and ended up here, you're in the right spot. You found the better podcast.
Yeah, I'm so tired from jogging here.
So anyways, we need you guys to help us out. If you're a fan of our show, please post a favorable review, a nice rating. We got to drown out those nasty comments from those people. They said that we were still making AIDS jokes, which we might have been, but they were probably funny.
AIDS jokes? What do you mean still making AIDS jokes? It's fine,
I thought that was part of the mission statement at Gas Digital.
That's why we're not on the network. We're not doing enough AIDS jokes.
Oh, boy.
They have a certain criteria before they'll bring you on, and we haven't hit that quota yet. So help us out. Go give us a nice rating. Okay, now the next
rating's important. The content of the review is not.
Right. No, don't trash us. We were saying that last week that we were going to pick a winner for who trashed us, but let me tell you.
And it's like, these people are homophobic, and they should stop with their hate speech. Oh, congratulations, Philip, you won.
I just kind of found out reading bad reviews doesn't really make me feel very good.
You hear that, folks? Don't give Bobby negative reviews.
No, say nice
5
things.
stars, and don't say anything mean.
All right, well, so let's get into the health food situation a little bit. So first and foremost, I'd love to know what inspired you to take the plunge into the holistic lifestyle. And then also, you have a real academic background here. It's not just you're not just winging it. You're not one of these people who started drinking kombucha and has kale shakes and now just preaches to their friend.
That's how it started.
Right.
That's how it started. I was I was in pretty bad shape probably 4 years ago. And my wife did this bone broth fast, and she'd always been doing these weird diets, and I was eating, doing comedy, eating top ramen, dollar pizza, taco. What
was your top weight? Because I never remembered you even being fat or chubby.
In New York, my top was probably... I lost a shit ton of weight when I first moved to New York.
Right.
Typical, first year, you're starving. I lost, probably 15 pounds just eating nothing and walking around the city all day.
You know what's funny? I'm such a fatty, and Harrington, 15 pounds is nothing. That's a statistical marginal error. That's not that's not gaining weight or losing weight. That's just I had a sandwich this weekend.
That's just the buffer.
Yeah, I just over-hoagied. That's not... 15 pounds is not the difference between skinny and fat. That's the difference between a little bit of chub. It's not like a 50-pound margin where, it's the difference between... That's the difference between Joseph Roberts' level of fat, my level of fat, and Harrington's. That's the upgrades there. You're now in a different category.
Yeah.
15 pounds on you, you're marginally chubby.
Right. 15 pounds...
you don't even need to change your shirt. It gets a little tight, but you don't need to change the thing.
It gets tight. my pant size. Like I had all like I think 36 jeans,
Right.
and then lost like that 15 pounds. I was like, I mean, I couldn't wear anything. You know,
what?
I'd be like wrapping my belt twice around and have like the cock part like bending out way too far. And
Yeah, you had to have a boner just to keep your fucking pants up.
exactly.
You gotta leave the
Pretty
house,
much.
take a blue chew, make sure you got an erection supporting the pants.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so tell me about this bone broth that kicked it all off for
So
you.
she does a bone broth fast,
Yeah.
and basically what it was, she pretty much guilted me into it, which is like the joy of being married, because it's like if she does something, she's not going to force you to do it.
Well, it's almost like they're not going to shut the fuck up about how special they are because they're doing that, or
Exactly.
that you need to give them sympathy because it's my bone broth, bro. So you almost have to be like, fuck it, I'll do this, bro. I don't want to hear your bullshit. Like, you need to be catered to because you have no calories in your system but bone broth. I'll just be miserable too for the week.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
I wanted nothing to do with this. Let me just
Yeah.
put it out there. Like I wanted nothing. I was very happy just, eating garbage and eating dollar pizza, not thinking twice about it. And I was good.
That must have been when you were at the Lantern a lot, right?
Oh
that
yeah, I was doing that whole rotation, Lantern, Pear. I was probably doing checks at LOL. Getting home at whatever 2-3 in the morning. Like, I mean, it was good. Like, I have no complaints about
By the
that.
way, to give a little context here, Eric Levy has luckily evolved from doing full-time stand-up to a more dignified career here where he's actually trying to help people out, and it seems like there's more of a like stepping stones towards an income. But one of the really cool things about Eric is first that you were in it. In terms of doing stand-up, you weren't doing you weren't doing it casually. You were out every single night, and you also had a different degree of hustle to you in that you were one of the early people to figure out the meetup scene and how to like self-produce shows and get people to come out. Which in New York is rare. Like, most of us are kind of trying to find those people like you actually have some hustle and can get people into a room, or we're just working at LOL for too long. You know what I mean? We fall into these different categories, but like you were fucking out every night doing stand-up for probably like a 5-year stretch in New York.
Oh yeah, like 6 years. I
6
mean,
years, yeah.
I was. I mean, from the day I got here, it was like, I mean, open mics, bar shows, barking, checks, guests, whatever, and then,
Hustling. You weren't doing it casually.
doing
there are
it,
people
yeah.
who say that they're doing this and like maybe they hit up a couple mics a week, or like, they do it 3 nights a week. Basically what I do. I'm basically describing myself right now.
people named
Yeah.
Rob Bernstein.
And then there are people who are fucking doing it. You were doing it. All right. So you're at home. You're having the bone
So
broth.
the wife's doing the bone broth fast, and pretty much just like you said, it was like one of those situations where it was like either I do it and things will be like livable in my apartment. It's a New York apartment. It's not like, we have houses where it's like you can do your bone broth fast and I can go to the man cave
Right.
and play. No, it was like I'm going to be in the room with you while you do this. So you're going to be fucking giving me shit the whole time. So
I feel like that, by the way, when it comes to cigarette smoking. I'm not a cigarette smoker. And if I'm hanging out with people who are cigarette, I'm not going to smoke cigarettes. But if you stick me in a room, like if I'm in a bar and people are smoking at the bar, I'm now a smoker. If I'm in a car and people are smoking, like there's a small enough space that if I'm stuck with you and I got to breathe in your secondhand smoke, then fuck it, I'm just gonna smoke.
grab a smoke.
Yeah, so that's kind of what you were experiencing, where it's like I'm already living this, I might as well just do it.
right, give me the goddamn bone broth.
Yeah.
And it was brutal. I mean, it was like, I think it was like a 5-day, like all we ate was like bone broth.
For a whole
for 5 days.
And so is that just like Auschwitz soup, basically? You're just throwing some bones?
Yeah, basically what you do is you take bones, and now it's like a big industry, so you can get this shit like powdered and just like throw it in some hot water and make it. But, the way we would do it, it's like, old Eastern European, fucking Olga standing over the pot. Go grab some bones from the butcher for like $3 for like 5 pounds of bones. You throw it in some boiling water, just let it simmer for like 2 days. And then you have just this gelatinous, fucking broth from bones.
What's it supposed to do for you?
It's full of minerals. It's it's amazing for your stomach or your gut. It's amazing for, your bones. It's got a ton of magnesium, calcium,
But
vitamins.
why can't this is the fat ass of me? Why can't I have a bowl of ice cream and drink the bone broth on the side? Why do I have to go exclusively bone broth for these benefits? Is it an
You know what? You
absorption
don't, dude.
thing?
You could just do that.
I could do that.
You could just do that.
If in the
and that's
morning
fine.
I'm having my Twinkies with some bone broth,
Right.
I could change it all around.
You're gonna
for
get
me.
something. Yeah, there's gonna be a nice mix of like a little.
You see,
know,
these are the hacks I'm looking for.
because look, if you do have the Twinkie in the morning, first of all, it's a terrible time to have a Twinkie. If you're gonna have a
Right.
Twinkie, do it like later in the day.
for the record, I eat a lot of cake products. Twinkies not one of them.
Okay.
Let's not degrade the kind of cake I'm eating.
Sure.
I'm
Okay. So
high-end cake.
if
Okay.
you're doing a ho-ho in the morning, if you're doing one of those strudels or whatever, yeah. So where do we go? The bone broth.
Yeah.
It's really easy to make, and you make a shit ton of it, and basically just for like 5 days, that's all we ate. And it was terrible because it was like, I mean, bone broth is good. You buy it in like the East Village, it's like $12 a cup. Like people are walking around with like coffee cups now with it, you
Bone
know.
broth, but
it's fucking expensive.
you can make it at home for nothing.
for pennies, right? But it was terrible because it was like the middle of February, and it was like one of those winters, not
It
like
was
this winter,
cold.
but it was just cold, and it
And
was
you didn't even
snowy.
have the energy to fuck. You're like, we just have to cuddle and hope
No.
for the best here.
And my grandparents died like within like 2 weeks of each other, so I had to go to 2 funerals, and
Because they survived the Holocaust, not for their grandkids to be eating bone broth.
Right, so I'm just
They're
a
like, we want
disgrace.
fat American kids. What are you doing?
yeah, I didn't come here on the boat
Yeah.
for you to eat bone broth like a
Right.
poor immigrant. So that was like my intro into it. I was like, because I actually saw like a benefit, because it wasn't just the fast. Then like after the fast, it was like taking these herbs and these supplements, and it was like a very strict like diet, like no sugar, no carbs, like only vegetables. And then you kind of graduate into some more food, and it like totally just reshaped the way that my body worked. Like that's the most easy way I can put it. And so I was like, holy shit, like this is legit, you know, like food is medicine, food, you know, like health. Like, it's not just like I'm gonna go to the juicing place and get like a green juice and be like, I'm not gonna eat a pint of ice cream and a juice. This was like actual holy shit, like, you know, I'm not constipated anymore. You know, like I sleep through the night and I wake up, I feel good. I don't need coffee like at 6 p.m. It was like legit. So I was like, okay, like there's something to this. And then that kind of got me started in this whole just like experimenting with diets. Like I did the bulletproof diet for like a month. I went vegan for like 2 years, and I was in it, dude. And then it was like a year ago that I just kind of hit this point where I was, you know what I mean? You hit that point after just probably a bad spot at LOL or the Creek or whatever, and you're like, what am I doing with my life right now? And so I'd been, my wife actually became a health coach like 3 years ago. She never followed through because she started her own business doing something else, but she still had like contacts to this world. And I just so happened to hook up with a dude, like, you know, talk, not like hook up and fuck and stuff, but like talk to a dude about his education in this. And he was like, there's this really good program called nutritional therapy. And I was like, and it's not just like bullshit health coaching, you know, because you'll go online and it's like, on Facebook, there's like these health coaches, and they're like, hey, get fit in 30 days with Belinda's Belly Blaster program. And it's like and it's fucking hijinks, you know, it's shenanigans. But this was like actually like science-based. So like the academic part that you're talking about, it's like, I mean, in the last year, I just learned actual shit instead of like going on YouTube and just, you know, saying like everyone should be a vegan because vegetables. It's like, oh, now I understand like what minerals are, what protein is, what, you know, what the gut does, how detox works. And so now I'm in it, dude. Now it's like I can't not know the shit I know. So now it's like I have to fucking help people, you know?
So let's talk about unhealthy eating for a minute, which I fall victim to. But I think I want to get into some of the consequences. And I don't even mean like the long-term health consequences. I more mean the day-to-day of like having good energy levels, or like I can tell you sometimes like I know when the unhealthy, I've had both. Sometimes unhealthy eating can cause anxiety because I think your body just knows like, hey, you're killing me. And it starts kind of giving you a little bit of panic. Because like your body just your body's like, what the fuck is going on here? I think that happens. I also think like when you overeat, it can cause depression because your body's like, hey, you're just kind of giving up here. Like this is your evening. You're just gonna stay home with your pizza pie. Yeah. And then there's also I think insulin crashing when you just kind of overdo it and your body's like, shit, I need a nap and I got to reset here. Because it's, you know, you just woke up, it's 10 a.m. and you ate a Danish, and that's not what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So I'd love to hear a little bit about, like, what are kind of like some of the worst things you could be doing to your body, and what exactly is going on the inside that you're, like, experiencing those things. So I want to hear like what are some like the horror stories? Like if you're eating McDonald's at lunch, what are you doing to yourself? And I'm not talking like, hey, 10 years from now you're gonna have a heart attack.
Right.
I mean like, hey, you're not gonna be able to sit down in the afternoon unless you get yourself some Adderall because your brain can't focus. It's not meant for like.
So you just want me to tell you everything about health in the next 3 minutes?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So basically, I mean, dude, your body works in a very specific way. And this is the problem with dieting because everybody's body is different, obviously, right? And so, from the fucking cellular level to the skin level, it's like your genetics are different. I mean, your body has a very specific blueprint in the way it works. And that blueprint has been slowly evolving for 2 million years, right? And then it's just in the last, 100 years that now we have all of these fucking chemicals just bombarding the body, and the body's like, I don't know what to do with this. You know what I mean? Your liver's like, I've never seen orange 6 before.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your body's like, I've never seen trans fat. I don't know what margarine is. I don't know what fucking heated vegetable oil is. You know what I mean? So it's like your body. It's pretty amazing the fact that that your body can process all that shit. Right, because it's just improving. It's like, all right, well, these are Doritos. I guess we'll just fucking put them on your ass. I don't know what to do with these, right? I mean, that's basically what's happening. That's like my problem with the paleo diet too, because they're like, well, we need to eat like we used to eat when we were, cavemen. And it's like, that's not possible right now. Because if a caveman did eat a goddamn Dorito, his body would have probably like literally fucking exploded. You know what I mean? Because the body just doesn't know what to do with that shit. So essentially, like when you're getting fat, it's like the fat isn't because of the calories. The fat is because of the toxic shit, right? And so the fat is like a storage. It's a storage. It's an organ, okay? And it communicates. There's hormones that go in and out of it, and it stores toxins, right? Because it's like we got to keep this shit out of the blood. And the more you put in, the more the body's like, okay, we're gonna put the refined sugar here. We're gonna put the fucking bread over here. We're gonna put the chemicals over here. It's just like improv. It doesn't know what to do. And then when you start like drinking more water and then eating like stuff that it knows what to do with, like, vegetables and fruits and even some grains, meats, things like that, the body's like, okay, we know what to do because this is what we evolved to do. And there's certain hormones and proteins in you that they've been doing this shit. It's like when you were conceived, the body like came together and it was like, here's the blueprint to do everything with everything. And then as long as you give it that stuff that it knows to do, it will do it right. So I guess that was a real abstract way of answering the question.
No, so firstly, your approach is you got to eat all natural stuff because if we're putting chemicals in, your body doesn't know what to do with it. But then I'm more looking at it not so much from your gut or putting on fat. I'm looking at it more from just mental clarity.
Right.
So when you throw the shitty food into your system, what's going on that like it so just deduces from mental you know what I mean, that it can either cause depression, anxiety, or just that like sluggishness of like, oh fuck, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. Well, dude, okay, so gut health, right? This is like the current thing going on in health. Like everybody needs to understand gut. Like they should teach this in first grade because this is probably the most important thing people should understand is that your gut is literally your second brain. Your gut controls everything going on in your body. Like 99% of the chronic disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, fucking all that shit, right, comes from the time a piece of food goes in your mouth to the time it leaves your asshole. Every health problem you have that's other than getting hit by a bus is caused in that time, right? So in your gut, it's like if you're not breaking food down properly, it's like, I always like compare it to, Indiana Jones. I've never really seen the movie, but there's that famous scene where like...
It's always good going into a reference. Like, I got the perfect reference.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it works, but just hear me out on this reference.
I just feel like I've seen this a million times, but where he's like running from the boulder.
Yeah,
okay?
Classic,
that boulder going down the thing. Okay, that's what undigested food is doing in your stomach right now. Okay,
it's a big old boulder chasing after
it's just a boulder,
Indiana Jones.
Right, so when it goes into your stomach, it needs to be broken down. It needs to be taken out. It needs to dissolve. That's through hydrochloric acid, right? The same shit that if we took like a drop of it and fucking dropped it right here, it would go.
Wasn't that in a Fight Club? Wasn't that what they were putting on the people's hands?
I think so.
The hydrochloric acid?
That's the shit in your stomach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Am I right on that?
I think so.
All right.
I've never seen it.
I think
You guys got to up your movie game. I mean, how have you not seen Indiana Jones or Fight Club?
I think that was Lie. Is that the same thing?
That's what they use to break down dead bodies in the woods.
Yeah. So that was like the
yes.
whole idea. They were making soap, and that's an important part of separating the fat when you're making soap was the lye. So that's why he kissed his hand and then put lye on it. And then, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Sorry, I watch Fight Club a lot.
Yeah, Fight Club's one of the best movies, dude. We're going to get back to what you were saying in 1 second. Hydrochloric acid, was that thing you were telling me you can actually take to help your body digest stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, because if you're eating unhealthy, you were saying that's kind of a decent hack, is that you can take hydrochloric acid prior to eating unhealthy. It will at least help your stomach process what you're throwing into it.
Yeah, and if you don't want to do hydrochloric acid, you could do apple cider vinegar, right? So this is
that works in a similar fashion?
Yeah, this is the thing that people confuse about apple cider vinegar. There's I just drink apple cider vinegar and I'm supposed to be healthy. That's not how apple cider vinegar works. You should take it either sometime around the time you eat. So either just before you eat, while you're eating, or just after, because that's going to go in. Well, actually you want to do it right before, because it's going to go in and basically prime all those digestive enzymes and juices and acid. And that's the shit that people are missing, right? So when you talk about overeating.
Yeah.
Okay, so digestion works in a very specific way. It's a very delicate process, right? So when you eat, the food goes in, and your body's blueprint says when food goes in the mouth, the digestive juices start getting ready in the stomach, right? And there's a whole process. It's your mouth is making saliva. The saliva is itself a digestive enzyme, so it breaks down carbohydrates. The pepsin in your stomach, that's another hormone. It breaks down the protein. Bile from your liver breaks down the fat. So for this all to work, though, you have to be in a calm state, okay? So it's fight or flight. Okay, so there's two modes of your nervous system: fight or flight, which is sympathetic nervous system, or parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. Okay,
With the exception of Joseph Roberts, we're all flight. We're flight.
Everybody's
people.
flight.
We're gonna get the fuck out.
Right, nobody's fighting.
Yeah. Joseph Roberts will fight you. The three of us, we're going.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Sayonara.
So these are the two modes your body works in.
Yeah.
Okay, and you cannot digest if you're in fight or flight, right? Because this is an ancient system from when we were cave people, right? So it was
So my stomach will freak the fuck out if I eat Doritos.
Yep.
It goes into fight or flight mode. Now it can't digest.
Exactly.
And the outcome of the not being able to digest is either what you're experiencing, which is that sleepiness. I always thought the sleepiness thing was when it from sugar spikes was more of an insulin thing, but it sounds like what you're describing might be more of that anxious thing where you're just a little on edge.
It happens both ways.
Okay.
It happens both ways. Yeah, because it's your the blood. So if you eat sugar, it goes into it. Refined sugar bypasses all of the natural progression of digestion. So if you eat an apple, you're not gonna have a blood sugar crash unless you're super hypoglycemic or diabetic or whatever, right? Or if you eat just some super fucking genetically modified super fruit or something. But if you eat an apple or an orange, the fiber in that will slow the absorption of sugar. If you eat a piece of cake or a cookie or ice cream or something, there's none of that going on. The sugar bypasses all that shit and just goes right into your blood. So your blood just gets a dump of sugar in it. And you're supposed to, in your blood, have I think it's a teaspoon of sugar, glucose, in it at all times, right? And it's just every day it's just going like this. It's just up and down, It's your pituitary gland in your brain is regulating. There's a whole system to this that has to do with your adrenal glands. But to keep it simple, you have to have a certain amount, a teaspoon of sugar in your blood at all times. So when you get that blast of sugar in your blood from refined sugar, whatever it is, cake, candy, whatever it is, your insulin goes fucking bonkers, right? It goes in the blood and it just starts, it's like a janitor on fucking cocaine. It's just scooping everything up as fast as possible and it's moving that shit to the cells, right?
Yeah.
So when that happens, what you'll have is that drop because now you have no sugar in your blood, right? So you'll just fucking fall to the ground. Now, what's supposed to happen is your adrenal glands are supposed to pump cortisol, the stress hormone, to get that shit back to normal because the cortisol will go back into the blood, it'll go into the liver and start fucking, jacking
So
loose.
if you're, so in other words, too much sugar leads to an increase of insulin. If you increase your insulin, you're increasing your cortisol. Cortisol is literally your brain's stress chemical, so you're gonna feel shitty.
Jesus Christ, you just explained the $5,000 course I took in like that sentence right there.
Well, there you go.
There you go. You did.
Hey, make sure you make that a
So
clip.
you can, so you can literally in your brain equate sugar equals stress. It's an equation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so much stuff is stress. Just the chemicals in this room right now are
Right.
stressing your body out. So, but pretty much, yeah. So it's like the insulin goes, the cortisol comes. But here's the problem, dude. Especially people in New York. You're talking about like we're all flight,
Right.
Because everybody's stressed, right? And it doesn't have to be like, oh my God, like I'm late for an appointment stress, or like, oh my God, can you believe this thing about Trump on Facebook stress? It could be just, again, like the chemicals in the room, people like eating lunch at their desk at work, eating, in the car, like eating while you're, any stress, right? You're just doing that all day. What you do is you wear out your adrenal glands that make the cortisol.
Right.
There's only a limited amount of ability they have to make cortisol. And so when you've just been doing that your whole life, eating like shit, stressing, not sleeping, whatever it is, dude, you just wore out your cortisol. So now
you got to go eat someone else's adrenal glands.
Well, that's what you do, dude. That's a real thing, actually. You can, there's a adrenal, not adaptogens, glandulars. Okay. These are adrenal glands from animals, and they put them in like pill form. And so, yeah, it's like this is like the ancestral way of eating, where it's like you used to eat like the kidneys of the animal, and like that's what Native Americans did. They would eat they used to give the fucking parts of meat that we eat now. You know what I mean? Like the
legs,
like the steak,
back.
the legs, the back. They used to give that to the fucking animals, and then the people would eat like the liver, the kidneys,
The brain.
adrenals, the brain,
They
the
love
tongue.
the dicks.
Yeah, the dicks. Oh, dude.
So-
the balls. Yeah.
Wait, can I ask a question
yeah.
really quick? I'm sorry. Going back to the undigested food. Now, how does that like affect your stomach? And also, don't take this as humor, but how does that come out and like affect your shits? Like when your food's not digesting in your stomach
Well, you'll see it in your shit. You'll
Really?
see undigested food in your shit.
more than corn. Like,
Yeah, you'll see like all kinds of stuff, man. I mean, I've had people tell me.
pull that up, Mike.
I've had people tell me they've seen French fries in their shit.
Like a whole French fry.
Yeah, like a whole French fry. Like if you take
Like you could clean it off and just.
when you're in that position. I mean, yeah, dude, because that's what's happening right now is people aren't digesting their food.
And so, like apple cider vinegar, that starts the flow of enzymes that wouldn't normally start because it's like a natural thing.
Exactly.
So if like you get that in there, it starts to flow as if you're eating healthy, and then you eat your garbage.
I mean, you could if you're gonna eat garbage.
I mean, and like not
Yeah.
just not garbage, but like whatever I was gonna eat.
Yeah, if you're gonna eat anything and you're like, Jesus Christ, like I don't want to buy hydrochloric acid pills or digestive enzymes. What's the best hack I could do? Apple cider vinegar or lemon juice. So just take like lemon, like don't buy like the stuff in the store, like the pre-squeeze, but just buy like a lemon.
Can you do both together? Can you like get yourself a cup of water, put in a shot of apple cider vinegar, squeeze out some lemon, fucking chug that shit down through a straw so you don't fuck up your teeth too much?
You probably could. Yeah. Yeah, you probably could. I don't see why not. I don't see why you would, but I don't see why.
Why not,
I
man?
don't see
Just to
why
get
not.
your stomach ready.
Just to get it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that. Yeah, like you also want to like take the apple cider vinegar and like mix it in some water because yeah,
Okay.
it will fuck your teeth up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like how much would you want? Like a teaspoon?
Like the cap. Just take
cap.
just take the cap. Just pour some in the cap. Put it, and then like just 3 times more of that of water. So like 1 cap, 1 part apple cider vinegar, 3 parts water.
And that's to protect your teeth.
Yeah, and it could be pretty rancid.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm pretty savage. Like I can take apple cider vinegar straight to the
know, I
dome,
kinda-
but it's pretty bad.
At first I thought apple cider vinegar was the grossest thing ever. But now, if you put in a cup of seltzer and you drink it with like the way that it's gross is comparable to me when you first started drinking alcohol, and there's something kind of good about the disgustingness of apple cider vinegar. I particularly like you can squeeze a grapefruit. Do you want a cup of water? We got 3 cups of water.
I'm good right here.
Oh, you're
Thank
good.
you.
You came with the thermos. You squeeze out. Here's my move for apple cider vinegar. You do it. You put your
What is it called?
apple cider
cider vinegar.
Apple Messiah.
apple cider vinegar. I like putting it in a cup of seltzer and squeezing a grapefruit in there, having it with the straw. Delicious.
All right, I'm just gonna fucking crash your entire world right
And
now.
go that that's
and
really bad
And I'm
for
gonna
you?
lose every Jewish listener you have right now.
Is that
but
really bad for
You
you?
gotta let go of the seltzer.
What?
Yeah,
Seltzer's bad?
seltzer's bad.
End the episode.
Yeah.
Pull the feed. Shut it down. It's over.
I know.
Why? What
Why?
do you mean?
I drink so much seltzer. That
Yeah,
was
I
like
drink
one of
a-
the healthiest things I've ever done is switched
Yeah.
over from soda to seltzer. Don't blow up seltzer
buddy.
for us.
Yeah, we're really
I
upset.
was here and I wanted to change all my patterns and be a healthier person, but if you're shitting on seltzer,
What about decarbonate? What about flat seltzer?
You mean water?
all right.
better?
All right. We'll ruin it for the Jews. What is seltzer doing?
Okay, here's the
If
thing.
you tell me that my IBS is because of seltzer,
It could be. Look,
Okay.
I'm
Really?
going to I'm gonna do the professional health coach thing
Yeah.
and say that's good that you made the transition from soda to seltzer. That's a great step.
Right.
But you want to take that shit to the next level. You got to let the seltzer go. Here's
It's like
the problem.
quitting vaping after cigarettes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to do it. Because the thing about seltzer, any carbonated beverage, what you got in there is you got phosphoric acid, okay? And so the phosphoric acid in the seltzer immediately stresses your body out because it's basically like it's like a chemical kind of, okay? But what it does is it switches all of your digestion off. Okay, so if you're drinking seltzer, you're putting yourself into sympathetic fight or flight. You're stressing your body out. You got cortisol pumping,
Holy
and you're turning
shit.
off your digestive juices.
fucking
Holy
seltzer's not
shit.
even good for you.
It's turning
is.
off your digestive juices.
Digestive juices.
How are you out of your fucking
Okay.
mind? My girlfriend's having huge stomach issues, and this shit is just blowing my fucking mind right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm probably gonna hit you up after this.
Hey,
and be
feel free,
like,
man.
Hey, so no seltzer, apple cider vinegar, good.
Yeah,
What else can I make this fucking bitch drink?
yeah.
All right.
No, go ahead.
So my next question is, because you're talking about how eating things that your body's not supposed to have stresses out your body. Why is it though? Like if I'm feeling anxious and I have a cookie, it's the greatest thing in the world. It's calming. You feel good. I would say there's probably like a half-hour stretch where you're like, oh, am I happy I did that? And then it turns on you. Mm-hmm. Now, I think part of what's going on there is that for so long, just getting food was like, that was the basis of our survival. Hey, I gotta go out and look for food. And I think when you kind of throw way too many calories at your system, at first your brain's like, oh, we're gonna survive. We're good. You know what I mean? Like there's like,
You did
so
it,
I think
buddy.
I think it's like there's some dopamine receptors I think that for sure just react to sweets and going like, oh, like high calories, good for you. You did it. You got us the calories. But then it seems like 30 minutes later, your body's like, oh shit, now we got to start processing this, and then it turns into nightmare mode. But I'm curious to know if you can tell us the science a little bit. Why is it that at first, if you're stressing the body, you don't like feel that instantly? And now we're going into the theoretical. Is there a way that you could like we could almost rewire ourselves so that like you're experiencing the consequence first? Is there like a scientific way to do that where you kind of hit the negative first so that you're just less inclined to eat unhealthy? Is there kind of like a biohack that, you know, we could be imposing into our brains or something?
Well, to go off the cookie thing.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're stressed out, you feel like shit. You're like, but let me eat a cookie and now I feel great.
Yeah.
So this is just my theory. First of all, the flour in the cookie, wheat and sugar are gonna hit the dopamine centers, right? Wheat, I forget the name of the protein. It's some kind of morphine. It's not casomorphine. That's milk. But it's some kind
You just make it up. We'll go with it.
Yeah, it's cookie morphine. That's what it is.
Cookie morphine.
Cookie morphine. Okay, and that triggers the dopamine in your brain. Same thing with the sugar, right?
Yeah.
Because again, you have this ancient reward system in your brain that for years when we were fucking living out there on the tundra, like the prize was getting the berries, right? That sweet stuff, right? That's why that stuff it's always so rewarding. Whatever it is, if it's sweet, it's great, and it's the same thing in the cookie. The wheat, though, I mean, it's so genetically modified now, all the different parts in that cookie, that they have engineered that cookie to give you that feeling and then to make you want more, right? So it hits
Fucking
that
scientists.
They know exactly what they're doing, right? I mean, there's so many chemicals in it. The sugar alone, if there's chocolate in it, chocolate is also tickles that dopamine receptor too. So
I feel chocolate hardcore. If I get
Yeah.
some chocolate, it's like let me sit back in this chair and chill for a little while.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of that like good gooey like feeling going on in your brain when you eat like a cookie or something like that. But then you have that crash again because of the whole insulin thing, the whole sugar thing. Not to mention, it's like you have these different parts, like you said, the calories stressing you out, especially if you overeat.
Yeah.
That's the other thing we didn't talk about was the overeating part. If you overeat, you're also going to completely, shut off your proper digestion because, again, the stomach's only so big, and it's like we only got so much hydrochloric acid, and depending on how fucked up your body is, it's going to only make so much hydrochloric acid. That's why you want to take like the apple cider vinegar or the hydrochloric acid pills to support that function, if you're making that shit at all. A lot of people are so jacked up, they're not even making that stuff at all. And that's just from a lifetime of eating like shit, pharmaceuticals, vaccines, all these different fucking chemicals you're pumping in your body have just shut people's digestion off. So it's like you have these people, they're like, I haven't shit for 4 days. And that's like a regular thing, like I'm working with people like that. And it's like, yeah, it's a huge problem.
What do you tell a man who hasn't shit in 4 days?
I tell a woman who hasn't shit in 4 days, or a man. I say, well, we're gonna hit this one. We're gonna hit this one straight in the fucking kisser. You know what I mean? We're gonna fucking do some hardcore shit. I'll tell you what I would tell somebody who hasn't shit for 4 days. I will tell you to go get yourself a colonic. Actually, I would tell yourself to get a few colonics.
How many colonics have you had?
You used to do the coffee enemas.
I still do the coffee enemas. I do 2 a day, 2 a week.
Whoa.
2 a week.
Coffee enema twice a week?
Twice a week.
That is...
Damn, I wish you started
so
up top with
excessive.
this stuff. I really bought into all your nonsense till I found out that you fucking put coffee, Dunkin' Donuts straight up the ass.
Oh, no, this is good coffee, my friend. This isn't bullshit.
Before we get to the coffee enemas, which we're going to get in deep on the coffee enemas in a second.
You almost had me.
I have one more question on the gut health, which is, I've also heard part of like the sugar addiction or your addiction to shitty stuff is that you end up with, I guess, bacteria in your gut that thrives off of some of these bad things. And so it's sending you, it's almost like, for lack of a better term, it's almost like you have a parasite in your body that wants bad things. And so it's like sending signals to your brain, hey, get me that sugar, get me this.
Yeah.
Is there some truth to that?
Yeah.
And how do you... Like, so in your opinion, what are like some skills that you could start? Like, you're a killer, man. You're a fucking savage. You just cold turkeyed your sugar.
Discipline, man.
And you're like, hey, man, I'm out, and I disciplined it.
I'll be back.
What can you tell people as hacks so that you could start cleaning up, start kicking the sugar habit a little bit, maybe wean yourself off? Like, what are some, like, here's where it hits me the hardest. It hits me the fucking, like, if I eat like a meal now, I'm like, I got that thing. I want sugar after my, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can kind of cut back on my crap eating, but that's where it hits me the hard. Like, if I'm eating lunch, I fucking want that sweet afterwards.
The dessert.
I want some dessert. Yeah. So, like, maybe it's as simple as, hey, man, just be more disciplined and have a banana and move on with your day kind of thing. But I'd love to hear about, I guess, more on the, maybe this isn't even the right word, the physiological side, or what's going on inside your gut and what you can do to kind of clean up the environment so that it's not so prone to go, hey, give me this shitty stuff.
Sure. So, okay. So you were saying, like, so you asked a couple different things there. So let me hit these. So you were talking about, is there a truth to, like, there being like a bacteria in your gut that is like that's running the show?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Dude, you are mostly bacteria. People are mostly bacteria. You have 10 bacteria cells for every human
I
cell.
thought I meant Robbie specifically.
Robbie is a disgusting fucking mostly bacteria bag
More
of shit.
bacteria than others.
Yeah. So we're all 10 to 1 bacteria to human cell. So your bacteria is controlling fucking everything, right? This is like a subconscious thing that we're not tuned into, right?
Okay.
So you have to kind of like, you almost have to like override like your common sense system in your brain to get to that point to understand that, right? Where you're like, oh shit, like the decisions I make, the thoughts I have, the things I do are actually being controlled by like forces, invisible forces in me that are actually real, microscopic, and they're basically running the whole show. So when you build this, and you don't just go from like having bad gut bacteria to having no, like they're always going to be good and bad. It's just the ratio, right? So it's like, do you have more good to bad or you have more bad to good? If you eat a shit diet, you have way more bad to good. And the bad, they love the shit. They love the processed food. They love the sugar. They love the wheat. They love, the crap dairy. They love that stuff. So when you have those sugar cravings, it could be the bacteria. It could also be your insulin, right? It could be your blood sugar is dropping and you just need like a shot of sugar to get you back up there. So when I did that bone broth fast, that was the first thing I realized, and that's what really turned me, was I was a sugaraholic. Like I was like you, dude, like every day eating ice cream. Didn't matter, dude. Like ever since I was a kid too, it was like, and it wasn't just like, a couple spoons. It was like just going to the bodega, 3 for $5 dryers, and, they're gone in a couple days, right? But then when I did that fast, what I did was I gave my gut a break. Like I literally starved the bacteria out so they weren't there anymore. So
it's like fasting. It's like a regular fast almost. Like that, like kills the bacteria too.
Yeah, and the bone broth is there to just kind of give you like some sustenance. Yeah. So and then the herbs go in and kind of like, they kind of whack everything out of there, right? So
you put salt in that bone broth?
You can.
Yeah, you can salt it up. That's not bad.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely, it's great. Yeah. But then, to answer your other question, there is a nerve that runs from your stomach to your brain called the vagus nerve. So everything that goes in your gut.
Sounds like a fucking party. No wonder they're looking for all this sugar and weed and alcohol.
Yeah.
Fucking vagus nerve.
Vagus nerve, baby.
Can I just get that thing removed? Be a normal person?
You can. I don't think it'll work out so well for you.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's why, like, I don't remember, was it like the ancient Greeks or somebody? They used to say like the gut is the second brain. Like you have a gut instinct, or like I feel it in my gut. That comes from because you actually feel. Your brain is controlled by your gut. 90% of the serotonin in your brain, that's like the happy chemical.
Dopamine and serotonin.
Dopamine and serotonin, right? 90% of that is made in your gut by your gut bacteria, and then it gets sent up the vagus nerve into your brain. So, when you eat like shit and you're like, oh God, man, I just want to take a nap, or like I'm cranky, or like I just feel depressed, or anxious, or whatever. A lot of people feel anxious like when they eat too much sugar. Like you'll feel it and you'll be like, oh fuck, like damn it, like what am I gonna do? Like I'm getting no spots. Like what am I doing with my life? You know what I mean? Like yeah, that comes from eating like too much sugar, too much shit, because you feel it in your gut and it goes to your brain, right?
What does booze do to my stomach? To this little farm I got going in there with all these little shitty bacteria that's craving all the bad stuff. What does booze do to my stomach ecology?
Well, I mean, booze is sugar, right? Alcohol is sugar, right? So it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same thing. You're just fostering a nice community of shitty bacteria down there.
Right. Now I've heard of, and I could be way wrong on this, but I heard that they were looking into, like, I got some friends who eat super healthy. You eat super healthy. And I've heard that they can actually take your shit and shove it up somebody else's ass.
Fecal transplant.
And that actually helps your stomach. Can I use the word ecology? Is that like the right word? Like you can almost view it's like the same way, or the biosys. What's the proper term? Like there's the forest has like its own, like you don't want to throw off the ecology. That's why I'm asking you. You're the
ecology's good.
Okay, so I got my stomach ecology, and mine, it's like a shitty neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like you're going in there and it's like it's the slums, and it's just people looking. It's just crack whores living outside looking for more crack. That's it. We go to yours and it's a bunch of Asian kids. They're running science all day. They're real smart. So I could take your shit, shove it like a whole log, even, just take the log, shove it up my asshole. Yep. How does that work? And
just do the coffee enemas, dude. That's going to be a lot better.
A lot easier. Okay. Now you went from doing, I admit, you were once telling me about the coffee enema and it sounded horrific. And not only did it sound horrific, you were telling me about how your wife was involved in the process, and I couldn't understand how your wife could still find you attractive after applying coffee into your asshole to then have to vacate a bathroom so that you could clear out your stomach. Like that just the concept of any of that was, I guess that's a different degree of love that I don't have in my life.
Yeah.
So But you
want that though. You want
no,
that.
I don't think I
Is
want
it
that. But
decaf?
you
You
went.
want that love. What's that?
Is it decaf?
No, you
or-
want the caffeine. The caffeine helps clear out.
It's lighter roast for more caffeine.
Really?
But how you went from doing that once to now you do that twice a week?
Yeah, I went from doing that. I had only done it like a couple times, and that was years ago. I think probably when I first
remember
told you about
were telling
it.
me about it at the Lantern, and I couldn't. I was like, "Geez, I thought this Eric guy was a normal kid."
Yeah. Well, that's what the Lantern drove me to, dude. I was
Yeah.
like, I just gotta whatever works. Put this thing in my ass, fucking squirt some coffee up there. That's what. Yeah. So.
How good? Wait, before you continue, how good are you at coffee enemas? Like, you probably get that process done in like 15 minutes. Like, that's like
No.
a shower at this point.
Now I'm much better with it,
Right.
Because I've only been doing it consistently for a couple weeks again. Like I
Right.
didn't do it for a while.
What made you stop? Just inconvenient?
Well, I wasn't like doing it like as a thing. I was just like, okay, well, I guess this is and this is before I knew anything about this stuff. It was just,
you just thought
again,
it'd be a fun thing to do with your weekend. You're like,
Right,
hey,
I
what are
was
we
like-
doing this weekend? Nothing. All right, well, why
Yeah.
not some coffee enemas?
So you just happen to fall into coffee enemas, and it turns out they're great.
yeah. Well, I didn't just fall into them. It was
what were
like,
some of the
know,
other things you experimented with first that you realized weren't a fit for your
a lot of
lifestyle?
butt stuff, my friend. The reason
Well, let's do this. A lot of people are probably Googling coffee enema right now
Which they
because
should.
don't quite know what we're talking about.
Right.
So firstly, walk us through that. And then the next question, I got ADD here, is you have to actually leave it in there for a little while. Mm-hmm. And you want to almost hold it in there so that your diarrhea explosion is the max. You want the max diarrhea explosion. You know what I mean? Like, if you just put the coffee enema up your ass and make some light diarrhea, you did it wrong. You want to keep
Right.
it in there, really let it absorb into your anus, I don't know,
No.
and really diarrhea, like, in a way that your neighbor's knocking, like, hey, did you guys move in an elephant? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, no, buddy, you could teach an online course about this. I think you got it down. I feel like you've done this before.
But
I think we found your autism. You're a colon autistic person. You just get it.
What do you do, like, to distract yourself so that you can keep it in for long enough that you really get, like, what's your move? What's your go-to?
Okay,
Because I'd probably end up eating ice cream.
well, you're laying on the bathroom floor, so that's not the best like ice cream eating
Right.
situation. So the reason I do the coffee enemas,
That's probably the grossest thing about the coffee enemas, laying on the bathroom floor.
yeah, it's pretty brutal. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like appeasing to it.
Pubes sticking to your chest.
Yeah. So the reason I do it is because how do I say this? So it's for detox, right?
Okay.
So your liver is your main detoxification organ, right? And the problem is people, especially in New York City, dude, are not detoxing, all right? This is probably the most toxic, I don't want to say the most toxic city in the world, but definitely one of the most toxic cities in the world. Like, we'll just walk outside and we're breathing in, I mean, an ungodly amount of fucking heavy metals, chemicals, toxins, just crazy shit that's not supposed to be in our body, right?
Just from brake dust alone.
Oh, brake dust is a fucking huge problem.
Really?
Dude.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
The lead in the walls, the mold. I mean,
If you look at a car's tires, you can see all this black dust. That's brake dust. It's all in the air.
it's in the air. Yeah, I mean,
And from-
exhaust. You know, the fucking glue on the tables here, whatever's in this shit. You know, it's all around us, right? But the body's resilient. The body's like, all right, like we know what to do with it. Like we can handle this, right? So just the liver is the part where the chemicals go in and then they leave your body, right? They leave your body through digestion. This is why good digestion is so important, because if you can't digest, you can't get this shit out of your body. This is why people get cancer, because they have these fucking chemicals going in that are literally chewing away your DNA and stopping the whole cellular process from happening, right?
So it's a lot like the cartoons where you get shrunk into the guy's stomach. You just see a whole sandwich floating in there or something.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Can I just say, I
don't know why.
I fucking love that. Like, I'm not that I know Eric is a comic, but it's like your knowledge here is scientific level, and then the way that we break it down into just sheer garbage is such a great dynamic. You're like, okay, so you got this enzyme. You're like, all right, so it's like when you you get it, okay?
Right, it's like when Popeye eats spinach.
Exactly.
And, yeah, I know.
Like you got to put it into stupid terms so that we can kind of digest
Right,
it.
buddy, I barked at the lantern. I know how to do
Yeah,
this
yeah.
shit.
All right.
Okay. So my point is you want to get your liver working right, okay? And so what the coffee enema does is the caffeine. This is a fucking biohack, okay? When it goes in your asshole, it goes through a nerve that goes directly to your liver. And when the caffeine goes to your liver, it literally opens up capillaries in your liver, which will release bile into your
Can I just do a
gallbladder.
coffee suppository? Would that accomplish a similar...
Conceivably, yeah, probably.
like
I don't
a
know how you would.
caffeine pill?
No, because you actually want to take it in your asshole, because that's the
Well, no,
direct
but you
line.
can caffeine pill in my ass.
Yeah, or caffeine suppository. Those exist.
I would Google it. You probably if there's a caffeine suppository,
Have
yeah,
you
I would try it.
have you ever had where you're doing your coffee enema and it's like a cup of coffee, it gets in there and you're like, shit, that's a little too hot?
Yeah, dude. The first time I did it on my
Oh my
last
God.
round, I was
Oh
like, I
God.
didn't let it
You're
go long enough.
You're
Yeah.
like the lady didn't put enough milk in there. Now I'm burning my asshole.
Right, what is this? NutraSweet?
McDonald's
yeah, you want to do this
scalding
with
coffee.
black coffee, by the way.
Okay.
You don't want like a latte.
You don't want milk and sugar in
Yeah,
there.
you don't want like a matcha fucking green tea or anything. You
Right.
want like black coffee.
And theoretically, could it be McDonald's coffee?
You want good quality shit. Like
Yeah.
you want like primo quality, organic, fair trade, and you like
Fair
I got-
trade.
Yeah, no, I got like a 3-pound bag, and the full coffee beans too.
You don't
And
want
wanna grind
Cafe
them yourself.
Bastillo. Like that, you throw some Cafe Bastillo up your asshole.
The
and-
McCafe enema.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, you're not taking
Yeah,
the coffee.
you don't want to
and
do
then-
that. Okay, so we're kind of coming down on time here. So two more questions I want to ask for you is, firstly, are you currently vegan, and is that the ideal?
No. So
Okay.
I quickly want to answer your question you asked me before. What's the hack to like not crave sugar?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'll give you two, right? Eat more fat. You don't have to be keto. You don't got to do anything crazy like that, but just eat more like good fat. The probably best is like grass-fed butter and coconut oil is great.
Is coconut oil the same thing as MCT oil?
No, they're two different. Like MCT oil is probably like a more concentrated coconut oil. They're similar chemicals, not chemicals, but compounds. But it's just the MCT is like more concentrated medium chain triglyceride. But you don't want to take too much of that stuff because that will literally make you shit your pants. So you got to be careful with that stuff. That's why coconut oil is fine, right? So if you get more fat, it's more filling, and it hits your macronutrient profile, and it helps you absorb specific vitamins that you're not getting without fat-soluble vitamins. Okay, so
So if I make like a smoothie, put like a half a teaspoon of coconut oil?
no, go 2 tablespoons of coconut oil.
tablespoons?
Yes, go
Oh.
fucking all in.
A
Yeah.
tablespoon?
Yeah, this is going to be really filling. It's going to be great.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll taste much better. And if you can get your hands on some good grass-fed butter,
Now, if it's like a cold, like I got frozen things in there, will that like make it shitty or?
no, it's going to make it great.
Yeah?
It'll make it great. Yeah, just put coconut oil, coconut milk, like this
Okay.
stuff it's legit. Yeah, and it's good for your gallbladder. It's good for a lot of stuff.
And grass-fed butter's good as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you're getting very specific vitamins out of that, and you're getting this stuff called butyrate, which is really good for your colon. So you wanna throw that stuff in there. You're asking me about the vegan. I am not vegan anymore, and I would not recommend people go vegan.
Okay, so now just give us the basics. Like, I'll tell you my approach to...
Can I ask about your opinions on the keto diet?
Yep. What do I think of the keto diet?
Yeah.
I think the keto. Well, first of all, dude, the keto diet, it was never meant to be a diet for people to do
Forever.
This was specifically made for kids with seizures,
Ooh,
right?
okay.
Because there's something about like the sugar pathway brain situation that gives. I don't know like the medical science behind it, but that was why scientists in the 1920s created the keto diet, right?
That's the first diet where I ever did it, and like I ever felt good. Like I was ever like, whoa, look at that. Like that's kind of what got me started on trying to be healthy.
Yeah, and I think it's great for like that because it's brought the attention to people like we got to get rid of the carbs, right? We got to get rid of the carbs, the sugar, and we got to eat more fat. I think that's awesome. But the problem is people now are doing it like long term, and you actually do need carbohydrates. Like
Right.
I know people will argue vehemently that you do need carbohydrates. Your body has learned over years to use You don't want shit carbohydrates. You want like potatoes, sweet potatoes. I mean, there's a ton of carbohydrates in vegetables. You want to eat fruit, like that stuff's fine. You don't want to eat a ton of fruit, but you do want carbohydrates in some limited amount. And you also need protein. The keto diet says no protein, and you absolutely need
thought
No
The
protein.
ke-
I thought it was all meat.
Yeah, I thought it was like eating a lot of...
No, the keto diet is. I mean, you will eat meat on the keto diet, but it doesn't want you no protein. It wants want you super low protein.
I thought it was high protein, high fat, and like eat all the steak you want, just stay away from the carbs.
No, that's like the Atkins diet. The keto diet is like 70 or 80% fat, and then it's like 5 to 10% carbs, and 10 to 15%.
I guess maybe I'm explaining the more
Honestly, that makes
pop-culture
sense.
Well, see,
keto.
this is also the biggest problem with the keto diet is people have now interpreted it in all these different ways, and you got
Right.
these hacks online that are like, telling you to do this. They're selling exogenous ketone supplements, and this is just like fucking powdered, magical jizz that doesn't fucking do anything. And it's a business, it's an industry. It's not the real diet can be done without having to do any of that shit. But it has to be like high fat. That's the only way you're gonna make actual ketones. That's the whole point of it, is to make these ketones to power your body with. Right. And you can
Right.
only do that once the body turns into fat. If you take protein, the protein will get turned into sugar in your body. So that's why you want to go super low protein.
All right.
I think
so,
that might have been where I hit the wall, because I did have the strips I was peeing on, and eventually they did kind of dip. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Right.
All right. I would say I'm currently not in a healthy stretch by any means, but I would say when I was being healthy, what worked really well for me was because I'm kind of compulsive, just avoiding trigger foods. As long as I don't get started on that thing where it's like, hey, I'm eating unhealthy, then I kind of have a balance to it. It's like, for example, if
That was big for me, too.
if I'm eating a salad with even a hamburger on it, I don't eat that much of it. If suddenly you give me a meatball sub, I can eat 3 of those. Or pizza, there's certain foods that just don't they're not that good. They're good. I enjoy it, but it doesn't get me to eat too much of it. And it also doesn't get me to go, oh, now I got to go eat a cookie. If I eat a bagel, even a whole wheat bagel, that fucking triggers me. I'll end up chasing cake all day. That's what happens.
Yeah, because it's sugar.
Yeah,
the bagel is sugar. And so you're going to get on the insulin roller coaster, and you're going to need more sugar.
It's like having the taste of, it's like being a vampire and having the taste of blood in your mouth. That's what it fucking does to me.
Yep.
And we're all different. I've been in and out of the clean stretches, and I know the difference. To you, walk us through what your ideal diet should be. You're waking up in the morning, you're having blank, lunch should be blank, dinner should be blank, you should have these 3 snacks, and that should be your whole day. Walk me through what to you is the ideal, basic 3, what is it to you?
What
What
he's
does it look
asking is to
like?
do your job for Robbie for just one day.
Right. Cool. This is going to be $300, by the way.
By the way, if you wanna teach, I'm good with. If you wanna go, hey, you can hit me up. That's part of my professional service.
Right.
I work sales. I respect the sales guy. Let's call it right there. I like that. If you want the inside scoop of what your diet should actually look like, you got to check out the Holistic AL podcast, and you work with people one-on-one.
Absolutely.
Here's the sales pitch. That's all this was.
There we
You
go.
listened to a whole episode. You got some free health tips, and it comes down to one sales pitch at the end. This your moment. Plug it, baby.
But do you want me to give you the diet, or
No, I like
No,
his approach.
go to our
you
Patreon
gotta,
and get the diet.
There
Yeah,
you go.
you gotta spend money for that kind of information.
I will tell you
give
this.
us- yeah.
I will-
No, don't tell us nothing.
I will tell you this.
Yeah.
The best. You can't do that because, and it's not because I don't want to tell you, it's because for everybody it's different, right? So I
Okay.
can't, if I say eat eggs, well, what if you're allergic to eggs, right?
Right.
That's a terrible fucking recommendation. What you should do, what everybody should do, and you're probably getting some pushback because you probably got some, part of the problem, people who listen to this and they're like, no way, man, the government, but get a 23andMe test or get some genetic test, right? Because what'll happen is you'll get the printout of your genes and you'll get some cool ancestry
I'm
stuff.
gonna wait till my dad dies to get that. Just between us and the
You think
internet.
You
Okay.
think it might
I don't know.
not
They
be
caught
him?
some rapist out there, and I don't want to put my. All right, should we edit that out?
If you've ever raped somebody, don't get a 23andMe. But,
well, I'm not saying I ever raped anybody, but I don't know what my family's been up to.
Okay.
Wait, you think you might be the product of rape?
No, not
Are
specifically.
you the product of a rape?
You think someone else might do a 23andMe?
I would
find
just
out
hate
you-
to get my 23andMe, and then my 73-year-old father gets locked up for something. Who knows what he did back during the Vietnam War?
Yeah, I don't. That's not how it works, though. I don't think it does. But
They caught that West Coast rapist. All right, I really derailed
We're gonna
this.
edit that.
Okay.
Joseph Roberts' dad is a really nice guy, and he's out there helping kids.
I love
and-
him.
I like how it was really broken. There was you were like, but what if it's a rape and my dad raped somebody?
Yeah.
I think I was raped.
He served this country in Vietnam. Things happen.
Vietnam, man. Hey,
Yeah, we're not editing that,
So
by the
unless
way.
unless you're John's dad, get a
Yeah.
23andMe test,
Right.
And because what'll happen is, dude, you'll get all of the genes that are in your body, and you can actually like I can put together a fucking plan for you based on your gene, like the foods that your genes need. Like some of it, like for instance, the MTHFR gene, that's like a popular one now.
Right.
That means you're not methylating correctly. If you
What
have
if you have the
SNP,
fat Jewish ball gene?
then you just eat as many bagels as possible.
okay. Stay
away
You-
from
that's-
seltzer.
No, you eat as much lox without bagels as possible.
That's your genetics telling you that you were destined to eat a lot of bagels. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what your DNA wants. Your
Right.
DNA was here to express itself in fat baldness.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so that's what I would say. If it's so like what I would do is I put together like personalized plans for everybody, and everyone's got their own dietary quirks and health issues they're dealing with, but there are ways to like fucking make that shit work. So to give you like kind of like a vague answer to that question, in the morning, don't eat sugar. Do everything you can to stay away from sugar and grains.
I swear by that because I used to wake up horribly depressed every morning. That was just morning was
Yeah.
horrible depression. And I would go, listen, buddy, if you get yourself out of bed, I'd have this conversation. I'll get you some cake. Let's do that. You know what I mean?
Holy
I'll
shit.
get you some cake. Just get out of bed, get started. I'll get you some cake.
You know what's crazy is I always thought you were an athlete for some
What?
reason. I always thought you were like an athlete or
just
a runner.
just a fat guy. So I used to have that conversation with myself every morning. You get yourself out of bed. I'll bring you to the bakery. I'll get you some cake. We'll start the day. We'll be all right, right? I used to do that for forever. And
Fresh cake, not even like
no, we were
stale cake.
No, we were getting ourselves some high quality cake, and that was the negotiation for getting out of bed. And then I read what's his name's book, Jordan Peterson, who was talking about the worst thing you can do if you have depression is eating like cake or carbs in the morning.
Yep.
Because then like you're spiking your insulin,
Yep.
you're just fucked for the day. And so I stopped doing that. Like I read that and I was like, okay, that's helpful. And I stopped, and it's definitely a different lifestyle and helpful. And I pushed that till later. You know what I mean? Like the cake thing comes, but it's like I got rid of that in the morning.
Yeah.
And it definitely, if you eat that shit in the morning and you're feeling down, that's it. You just fucked your day.
And that's
Yeah.
what kids' cereals are. It's
Yeah.
just grains
Just
and sugar.
cereal.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's
Just
what it is.
sugar.
That's what it
Yeah.
is, dude. It's crazy. I'm actually reading the Kellogg's biography right now.
Yeah.
I just literally started, but I mean that's what he did. Is
It's
he
a business built on addicting kids to sugar.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know how he originally invented John Kellogg, the doctor, wanted
John Kellogg.
Yeah.
He's an actual guy.
He is an actual guy. He fucking created cornflakes because he thought it would help kids stop masturbating.
What?
Yeah,
all
that was
right.
the
No, I thought that was graham crackers. I thought they said that they sold.
Hey,
graham
listen,
crackers
there was an
as,
epidemic. We needed to figure something out to get these
yeah. I
kids
think this
to
was a
stop jerking off.
multi-prong approach with several doctors trying to.
How much jerking off are these kids doing?
And in the 1800s too. What are you jerking off to?
Yeah.
you know what I
An
mean?
elbow.
Bushels of wheat. All right.
So don't
first
eat,
rule:
don't
no
eat sugar
in the
Don't
morning.
eat sugar or wheat in the morning. Eat an egg. Eat fucking lentil beans. Eat some bone broth. Eat like a smoothie with like lots of fat in it. The bulletproof coffee thing. As much as I can't stand the dude Dave Asprey who created that, it's not a bad idea, right? With the fat in the coffee,
and butter.
butter in the coffee. Yeah, butter, MCT oil in the coffee.
But
You just
that'd be
want
pretty nice.
fat and protein in the morning. That's what you want, right?
I bet that'd be pretty nice up the ass. Some butter and coffee.
No, you just
No?
want just the black coffee.
No?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't.
alright.
We'll experiment. We'll bring him back after we experiment with what we're doing with our coffee when we shove it up our assholes. But
Right.
you're
Yeah.
giving it to us, in the most pure fashion.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Leave it to us to tweak it around and have some fun.
Don't let
Make
me
it
tell you
your
how to
own.
live your life. You do you.
Okay.
And then, like throughout the day, I mean, just do everything you can to stay away from sugar and processed food. If you have some sugar, if you're like, dude, I've been dieting hardcore, I'm fucking starving, I want some sugar, then have some goddamn sugar. Have a goddamn dessert. Don't fucking, put yourself through hell. There's no reason, because all you're doing is stressing yourself out, right? And when you start like hardcore dieting, you're restricting calories. This is like the worst thing you could do for your body, because you're taking away like nutrients. These are tools your cells and body need to like do shit, right? So don't like crash diet. If you do the keto diet, do it, but don't do it like for more than like a couple months. Do it for maybe 2-3 months. Do it, be like, I lost some weight, I'm not addicted to sugar anymore, I like fat. And then, kind of start putting some carbs back in the diet, throw some potatoes, sweet potatoes, some goddamn french fries, whatever it is, some fruit. Don't eat the french fries too much though, but stay away from oil, stay away from vegetable oil. Stay away from margarine. Just eat butter. Just eat a ton of fat. Just eat.
I hope there's some guy that walks away from this whole conversation. He's like, hey, as long as I eat butter, I'm good.
Seriously, dude. Hey,
A pound of butter. I'm just going to start my day butter. Dinner butter.
yeah, yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing. When you
Yeah.
cook, like if you cook at home and you cook like on a pan, don't coat that shit with oil. Don't coat it with olive oil. Coat it with butter.
Butter.
Yeah.
All right,
Butter, butter, lard, duck fat, tallow, ghee. Even coconut oil is okay, but you want to go animal fat.
Love it. All right. Thank you so much for the health tips and for joining us. Give us a plug and let the people know where they can find your professional services.
Well, this was great. Thank you so much for having me. You can find me, the Holistic A-Hole podcast, Twitter, at Holistic A-Hole, Instagram, Holistic A-Hole. I am now starting my health coaching service, so if you want to work with me, you can just shoot me a message on Instagram, get in my DMs, Twitter, whatever it is.
Slide into those DMs and do some coffee enemas with your
Facebook.
boy.
I will show you how to do coffee enema, and it will literally change your life.
Nice.
So,
I can't wait.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you so much. That's our episode. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
absolutely.
Buenas noches.
Boom.